like the real reason that Africans, Caribbeans, and everyone from the diaspora is so bothered by Black Americans is because we do not let the African part of our lineage overshadow the American part, right?
Another day, another diaspora war started by someone who read just one tweet and decided she's now a certified Pan-African psychologist. So this lady got on Beyonce's internet and said that Africans and Caribbeans don't like Black Americans because they don't center the African part of their lineage. She said Black Americans create new culture and that bothers Africans. Girl, let's unpack this mess because I promise you, I don't think Africans are really bothered like that. This kind of argument pops up every few months. Someone says Africa hates us and then someone else claps back, no, Black Americans hate us first. And before you know it, we are deep down in the trenches arguing over who has more seasoning in their trauma. But the real truth is that most people aren't really thinking about each other like that. Like, for example, the average Nigerian is bothered about fuel scarcity, exchange rates, and our annoying president, not your ancestry.com results. And for Black Americans, you people have actual problems, serious problems: police brutality, voter suppression, gun violence, systematic racism. So you're trying to tell me that in between all of that, you are plotting against Ghanaian immigrants?
I feel like the real reason that Africans, Caribbeans, and everyone from the diaspora is so bothered by Black Americans is because we do not let the African part of our lineage overshadow the American part, right?
Nah, it's because humans are delusional as fuck. Next.
So when African Americans are creating all of this new culture,
there is no new shit. We have receipts. Next.
And I think that is where all of the discomfort come from.
There is no discomfort from Africans and Caribbeans. We do not care. That's why humans are the only ones ever on this app complaining. Next.
Because every time there's a conversation about, the greatness of Black Americans in the world,
the allegations are false, sis. And I bet you have no receipts. Next.
In fact, we do know our history. We do know our heritage.
Statistically, the average American reads at year 6 level. So it's okay, sis. Don't worry. We don't believe you. Next.
We know that we are descendants of American slaves.
Exhibit A. Sis, the Black people displayed all over the world are the descendants of enslaved Africans, not Americans. Next.
In those 500 years, we mixed with Europeans, Native Americans, Hispanics.
Exhibit B of stupidness. The native people of the Americans are the Native Americans. You niggas are resting on this logic that Black people were the first in America. Until date, you lot can't even find one bone to prove your theory. Also, B, Hispanic is not a race. Hispanics are people who speak Spanish. Next.
And of course, the people who were originally here were African. But we ourselves are not inherently African in any type of way. So,
you see why the rest of the world think humans are stupid? Next.
Because we don't give that credit large to our African counterparts.
I think the credit she's talking about is that one, their parents fuck up when they take our cards in their name and buy shit and don't pay it off. Next.
There is jealousy and disdain there.
We ain't jealous of humans, bruv. That's why we ain't out here saying nothing. Next.
And that's why there is always so much question about our identities.
Notice how Caribbeans and Africans never have to explain our identity. We don't make it one that can be questioned. Do the same. Next.
It's not that we don't know who we are, because we do know who we are.
No, you don't. That's why humans are the only tiny piece of the diaspora that keep moaning online. Next.
It's that you don't like who we claim to be.
No, what it actually is you niggas have a problem because we don't care who you niggas claim to be. Next.
Proof of this is you don't give Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, or Brazilians this same treatment, right?
100%, because Hispanics and Brazilian and so on are very hardworking people. They do not have time to come on social media with delusional lies against other racial groups of people. They understand that the food stamps and section ain't enough, so they out there making their money. This is why we don't have no problems with them. Next.
We're okay with Latinx, Afro-Latin people highlighting the Latin part of their culture over the African part of their culture.
No, that will be you and your peers. Caribbeans and Africans don't say shit about anybody else. And we have receipts. Next.
The only reason that y'all are okay with that is because they have not reached the heights of creation and innovation that Black America has, right?
I'm trying to figure out what heights exactly, because America is the only country I know you can work 50,000 hours a week and still can't make ends meet, bruv. Next.
And so because they haven't done anything as world-changing and as world-effective as Black America does, it doesn't matter as much to you. But
you need a masterclass on the contribution Black people around the world made compared to African Americans. I'm more than happy to help you. Next.
You need us to say how African we are so that you can take credit for our greatness.
No, we don't. And please don't do that. The last thing Africans and Caribbeans need is for the rest of the world to think that we are all one big fat group of dumb fucks. Good night.
So now let's get into what this auntie actually said. She claims that Africans are bothered because Black Americans don't honor their African roots and prefer to identify as Black or American instead of African? Well, some Black Americans really do feel a disconnect from Africa. Some Africans do carry a certain stereotype about Black Americans, but that's not hatred, that's colonization, that's media, that's years of divide and conquer tactics that is working perfectly. We're all victims of the same system, just in different fonts. Blaming each other for how that trauma shows is just like blaming your sibling for being born in another hospital. Do you see how weird and absurd that is? Now let's talk about the part where she said Black Americans invent new culture, and that is what we are mad about. Like, what does that even mean? Black American culture is American culture, from hip-hop to fashion to slang to everything that TikTok steals weekly. That's you people. You don't have to separate it. You don't need to explain it. We are not mad or jealous or anything. And let's not act like culture does not exist in Africa too. Like, have you attended a Nigerian wedding or a Ghanaian funeral? Culture is everywhere. Like, you're not the only ones carrying something valuable. This we have culture and you guys don't have culture thing is tiring. We all have culture and all of it matters. Let's just call this thing for what it is. It's called projection. Like, you people are not really mad at Africans. You are just mad that the diaspora is not healing fast enough. I think some people are still dealing with identity crises, migration trauma and internalized racism. And instead of dealing with that, we create imaginary beef to distract ourselves.
We do not let the African part of our lineage overshadow the American part, right?
You guys are flocking to ancestry tests to find that 0.01% South African so that you can have somewhere to belong. Because clearly it's not that place where you as a Black American woman will feel unsafe in your house, call the police because you feel unsafe, and somehow the police will wind up killing you. I was today years old when I found out that Africans are allegedly feuding with Black Americans simply because the Black Americans don't credit their African heritage for their great achievements. And from where I'm sitting, I'm like, what would make you think that the Africans want to be associated with a demographic of people that do not even know the difference between then and then? What would make you feel like we want to be associated with a demographic of people that will still kill each other? A Black American will kill a fellow Black American for the simple fact that they disrespected them by, get this, accidentally stepping on their shoe at the mall. That's grounds for them to die. Why would you think we want to be associated with a demographic of people that if you meet and you're from two different hoods, one person has to die? What would make you think that? But anyway, that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is you as Black Americans have bigger issues to deal with. Africa is not your problem. For the fact that your Black son cannot go out of the house and guaranteed to come back alive, lest they die at the hands of a cop or a fellow high-achieving Black American. This creator went ahead to list some of the major achievements done by Black Americans. Meanwhile, most of the Black Americans cannot afford to enjoy those innovations. She mentioned that they invented the pressure cooker. I'm like, most Black Americans cannot read. They cannot spell pressure. You're here saying, oh, they not like us. They not like us. They're not like us. Of course, we're not like you. I am guaranteed to leave a traffic stop with my life. Are you? When you can finally wiggle out of your hair bonnet and do some research, you're going to read about the great Nelson Mandela, right? You'd be amazed the works he did for freedom, something that you as a Black American are still fighting for, seeing as you cannot walk around certain neighborhoods without them doing the noble thing and calling the cops because they think you're a thief, or worse, shooting you dead. When I tell you Africa is not your problem and you and your achievements are not our problem, you people have bigger problems, okay?
And to a TikTok lady who responded to her and said Africa is not your problem, my sister, you are very right. Africa is not your problem and you are not Africa's problem also, so let's respect each other's lanes and struggles. You don't have to claim the continent, but don't rewrite history to make it look like we are obsessed with your rejection. That's not real, and you know that. The diaspora is hurting. We've all been lied to, we've all been scattered, and the only way we cope sometimes is to come online and be talking rubbish, and that is not helping anyone. So instead of fighting about whose trauma is more valid, let us clock the real enemy, the system that stole us, separated us and told us to hate each other. We actually don't need to be besties, but let's stop embarrassing ourselves on the timeline, like on social media. Anyways, we've come to the end of this video. Guys, what do you think about this topic? What do you think about what the girl said? Did you enjoy the video? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. My name is Benita. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, all the love in the world. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.